Welcome to Giants Latest. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all things Giants. Today we are continuing on with the position debrief breakdown where we're going through all of the positions on the roster and talking through all of the players in that position right now. So that includes veterans, rookies, UDFAs, free agent signings, all the above. And I guarantee there's going to be some players who you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that person. So I think it's a fun exercise, go through. Obviously the roster is ever changing and there are going to be more changes from now until June, July, even through preseason in August. So it's going to continue on, but this is the fun part. So I want to really focus on the offense today because the wide receivers, I think, are going to be one of the most exciting positions to watch during camp and preseason because there are 13 wide receivers currently on this roster. And that does not include Gabe Davis or anyone else that the Giants might bring in as another veteran presence. So I only say Gabe Davis because I think he's the most likely between him and Keenan Allen or anyone else out there. But we'll see if they end up doing that. Okay, are you guys ready for the wide receivers? Let's talk about the outside first. So left and right, we've got Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton, Zach Pascal, Jalen Hyatt, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Antoine Wells Jr., also known as Juice, Daquan Felton, Bo Collins. Then as our slot guys, we have Wan'Dale Robinson, Amir Smith-Marset, Montrell Washington, Jordan Bly, and Jalen Cambry. 13 wide receivers. So I think the Giants are probably going to end up keeping 6 or 7. That's going to be my guess. And this is who I think is going to make the roster. So let's start with the left and right side. So between these two guys, I think the Giants are going to end up with 5 guys, and then I think they'll end up with 2 slot guys. And I think they're only going to go with 2 in the slot because Malik Nabers can be used in the slot, and I want to see Brian Daboll do more of that this year. So obviously, no questions about this, right? Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton. Those are going to be the top 2 starting wide receivers. Outside of that, I think Jalen Hyatt is obviously still going to be on this roster. I know there's talk about trade and this and that, but he's going to make the roster, at least I think, through the season. And then, I think they have some sort of plan with him. I'm most excited to see him with Russell Wilson during training camp, and then I hope that Russ plays a little bit during preseason because he has talked so much about how Jalen Hyatt has untapped potential. Let's go, Russ Wilson. Show us. I want to see it. I cannot explain to you how excited I was on draft night, you guys, when they drafted Jalen Hyatt. He was one of my favorite wide receivers outside of Quentin Johnston coming out of college, and I was like, this is our guy. And he's not been our guy, but I just feel like maybe Russ Wilson is right. Maybe there's some untapped potential. And I trust Russ, okay? He's been doing this for a long time. So Jalen Hyatt resurgence, okay? It's coming. So he's my number 3. Then I think number 4 is going to be Juice Wells. I really think that this kid is going to make the roster. He has some things to work on. He's not the best athlete, things like that, but he doesn't have to be Malik Nabers, okay? He doesn't have to be making these acrobatic catches and doing the amazing things that Malik Nabers can do. This kid can catch the ball. He's made some really nice catches. He's good at contested catches. He's already shown off a little bit during the rookie mini camp. And obviously he's got that connection with Jackson Dart. And I just think that not only is that going to help him, I just think the experience of coming from Ole Miss, he has a lot of SEC experience. He also played at South Carolina. He had 2 almost over 1,000-yard seasons, and there's a lot to like about this guy, and I think he's going to end up making the roster, and maybe I'm being biased about it, but I just feel like when you look at the other guys that are currently on this roster, okay, you've got Zach Pascal, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Daquan Felton, and Bo Collins, and Juice Wells. Those are the guys. When you look at those names and you look at all of those players, I think it's pretty obvious that Juice Wells is going to be more likely to make it. Now, on my next one, for the 4th starter, I think it's going to be between Bryce Ford Wheaton and Daquan Felton. Now, Daquan Felton had a really nice showing, too, already at rookie minicamp, and he is a guy that signed a guaranteed salary to be on the practice squad at a minimum. So this guy's practice squad, no question about it. I think it's going to be between him and Bryce Ford Wheaton. Now, The difference is Bryce Ford Wheaton does play a little bit on special teams, so I think that will help take him to the next level. He also knows the offense already. I think he's a little bit bigger than Daquan Felton and just has that veteran experience that I think will help him as well. Now, he is coming off an injury, so we'll see if that affects him at all. But if I had to choose right now, I would say that I think it's going to be Bryce Ford Wheaton, and I think that Daquan Felton will be practice squad, but I do think that we could see him at some point during the season. Lastly, slot guys, in my opinion, there's no question mark here. It's Wan'Dale Robinson and Ihmir Smith-Marsette. Ihmir Smith-Marsette is been on the team for a couple years. He has good experience. He's also a special teamer. He has a lot of good special teams experience. He has run a return back for a touchdown. He actually did it twice. One of them got called back for a foul. Surprise, surprise. But I just think that that's it. And I think that makes the most sense. You guys let me know if you feel differently. Tell me in the comments if you think it's going to be someone else. Let's move along to the tight ends because there are also quite a few of them on the roster. As of right now, there are 6. We've got Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Manhertz, Greg Dulcich, Thomas Fidone II, and Jermaine Terry II. Now, I think with tight ends, I think they're going to end up keeping 4. That's pretty much what they did last year. And I don't think there's any question that it's going to be Daniel Bellinger and Theo Johnson. Belly's in the last year of his contract. And, he's been hit or miss for the Giants. I think he unfortunately has been forced to block so much. He is better as a pass catcher than he is as a blocker. But, he's been forced to really block because the offensive line has been so bad. But I really think he has a lot of potential. And I just think we haven't really seen it, both because of the quarterback situation, the offensive line situation, and, just stable with his play calling. So, I don't know. I always liked Bellinger. I hope to see more of him this year. So, him and Theo Johnson, in my opinion, no question marks there. I think the same thing with Chris Manhertz. The Giants really like him. They have re-signed him a couple times now. He is a veteran tight end. We know how we feel about the veterans on the roster. He's got really good blocking experience, came from the Broncos. And, I believe that he caught a couple touchdowns last year. I think 1 or 2 of them were taken back. But he's a guy that is a big body target and a good option for the quarterback. And playing with the Broncos, Russ Wilson also played with the Broncos. So I expect to see some decent plays out of Chris Manhertz this year. And no question mark to me that he's making the roster. Now, when you go between the other 3 guys, Greg Dulcich, Thomas Fidone, and Jermaine Terry, I think Fidone is going to end up being a practice squad guy, not only because he was a later round pick, but he's dealt with multiple injuries. He has to put on some weight. He's definitely on the slighter side for a tight end. And I think they're not going to rush him into playing yet because there's no reason for it. They do like Greg Dulcich. He played with the Giants last year. I think he had a couple of receptions. We didn't see much out of him, but I think it's more likely that he ends up making the roster as the 4th, Fidone as the practice squad, and maybe we see Fidone at some point this year. But I think they are going to make the focus for him to really bulk up and do a lot of learning. So that's where I think they're really going to fit in with the depth chart with that perspective right now from the offense. I think it's going to be 4 tight ends, 7 wide receivers, and then we already talked through the running backs a little bit. So I think that that's probably what it's going to end up looking like. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree in the comments because I'm curious to see what you think about Fidone or even someone like Jermaine Terry. There is so much competition at all of these positions, which I think is great and something that has been so desperately needed with this team. But I'm just curious to see if it's something that we really do see more of this year in these roster spots, knowing how many players they already have at each position. So let me know in the comments what you think and stay tuned for more of the position breakdown coming tomorrow.